Good afternoon, Sarah Cooper. What drama have I missed? Well, Sarah, you're in luck. We're going to discuss that now. Kind of. Good afternoon, everybody. 11 o'clock on the Tuesday. I apologize for missing last Tuesday's show. What was I doing? Why wasn't I here? You guys don't give a shit. I can't remember what I did last Tuesday. That sucks. Oh, now I remember. I went to a mastermind thing that we're putting together here locally in Livermore. It's a small business entrepreneurship kind of group that we started from the Through the Grapevine podcast. You guys have probably heard us or me talk about the local Livermore podcast that I do. It's called Through the Grapevine. It focuses on small local businesses here in Livermore. We had a whatchamacallit, a big event in January where we actually rent out the Bankhead Theater. We have this huge networking group come in and like all the small businesses in the area, as well as all like the city council people, the local politicians, and just a bunch of people within the community. And then we realized that we could run these small masterminds for what we like to call a 0 to 1, meaning you want to start a new business, you maybe have a business, you want to go into a brick and mortar or whatever the case may be. Mike, is it not working? Is my mic not working? I did check it this time before, and it says the Roadcaster. You were popping. And so the city basically will give us funds to host these small masterminds to help the small businesses of Livermore kind of have a gathering place, and then as well information. So the first one was last Tuesday, and we had the city manager Brandon Cardwell of Livermore come out. He talked about zoning. They talked about how to start a business here in Livermore. They also talked about getting financing for a building. They talked about upgrades for the building, how to navigate permits, conditional use permits, all this type of crap that is probably not very interesting unless you're trying to open a brick and mortar business in your local neighborhood. So that's where I was last Tuesday. So now you guys are caught up. There has been lots of drama going on. I'm going to start a little bit talking about the open first. Hopefully you guys all did all your workouts. Maybe you did better than me because I did not do the last workout. Why not, Matt? Well, I'm glad you guys asked. Typically, we put on the Friday night events on Fridays, which is usually a normally busy day for me. And here's a list of 5,000 excuses. So I didn't do it during the Friday Night Lights. And then over the weekend, I was just like, fuck, I have to do this shit by myself. And then next thing you know, the time had elapsed. So am I still going to do it? Yeah. Obviously, the score is not going to be official. And I'm going to stream it on my YouTube channel. So if you guys are interested in watching me do it, I'll still commit to doing that last one. I did 2 out of the 3. Yeah, same, Judy. What's up, Jeffrey? How you doing? One of the things that I was listening to the show earlier that Sevan was on this morning. I was talking to him a little bit before this. And we were just discussing generally like how everybody in the media group feels about the open, the workouts, like all of this type of stuff. And it's interesting because you have to really you have to really decide who the open is for when you're talking about if it was good or if it was bad. And a lot of times we immediately go right to like the open being the, starting point of the season for the elites. But we know that for the majority of us average CrossFitters or beginning CrossFitters or just whatever, people that do CrossFit as their main source of exercise but don't really care about the competitions aspect of it, that is our whole entire competition. The open is the whole entire competition. And so I think in order to judge it fairly, you have to really decide first, like, okay, are you talking about this as a qualifier or are you talking about this as a community event? And I think there's a lot of differences in the way that you program for the workouts, in the way that it should be promoted. There's just a lot there. And I think that with people analyzing the open, you should think more about, okay, who is this for and why are we doing it? And less about the elites, in my opinion. Because then it just goes, it can be both, it should be both. I completely agree. And it should be both, as in you just have to compete in the open to compete at the CrossFit Games, and you have to be within the top 1%, right? Because we still need the athletes for the open announcements. We still like to see what the tip of the spear does. We'd like to be on the same leaderboard as the elite athletes. So I do think that is necessary. but I like to think about it more as the athletes just do it and we utilize them as showmanship rather than really making the open the beginning stages of the qualifying to the games. And I don't mean that the workouts need to be more accessible. I thought they're really accessible this year. I don't mean they need to be easier. I don't think they should be easier. I love the fact that a lot of my members got their first RX pull-ups. I love the fact that a lot of my members got their first RX wall walk, maybe challenge themselves on a thruster weight, whatever the case may be. So I still think that the programming and whatnot is still great, but I just think the way that it should be framed should be way more community orientated and less about qualifying stages for the games. And I think once CrossFit really wraps their head around, I'm in my head now because I realized I've said I think like 1,000 times, but whatever. CrossFit should really wrap its head around that. Like, how do you make it a community event? How do you make it look and feel more like a local 5K race in your town than it does as a qualifier for the Olympic trials? And once we really start to wrap our head around, okay, well, what does that advertisement look like? What type of people should we be showcasing? What type of assets, meaning like media stuff or meetings or things that we should be giving to the affiliates? And how can we make the open a living, breathing time for not only the community as a whole, but for affiliate owners? I think like we're all doing the same thing. We're all hosting events every Friday or Saturdays or however we do them. There's a lots of different ways to skin the cat. I know like Craig Howard over at CrossFit Diablo does like this whole intramural open where they have a lot of success with that each year. And I think it's even a moneymaker for them. I've talked to a few other affiliates that are in the school program and the different things they do around the open. A lot of them turn it into a retention tool. A lot of them turn it into like gamifying CrossFit so you could start to feel the success of leveling up your skills. And so I do think that when you really frame it around a community event like a local 5K race and not a qualifier, a lot of things change around that. A lot of things change. We should do this quarterly. No, Brian, we should not do this quarterly. Cannot handle that. 4 times the retention rate. Not really. What's up, Jonathan? Hope you're doing well. Jenny, how you doing? I just threw out an idea to Sevon about your show. Interesting. So in the years to come, I hope that we really, as a community, as a whole, but it's got to come from the top down. It's got to come from CrossFit HQ, makes it about the community event and not a qualifying. Use the athletes to freaking put on a show and dance as promotion as they do in the open. Or the announcement, we all love to see that, but that's about the extent of the role that they should play. And then just force them to be in the top 1%. So it still makes it legitimate for them to go on. Standy, scaled is rainbows. Interesting take on that. I kind of, in the sense of the open, I agree with that a little bit. I think you should test yourself. I like the fact that some of my new or like brand new people still have an option for them. But back in the day, there was no scaled option for the open. Either you struggled for the allotted time to get your first pull up, to get your first handstand push up, to get your first muscle up, or you just took the score as a 0 or whatever it is. I kind of like that a little bit, as long as it's appropriate for the member, because I pushed a couple of my members to go RX when they would rather have done it scaled. And what came out of that was everything I just talked about, all their firsts, especially with like the bar muscle up and stuff. Like those are huge celebrations and awesome things that have happened inside your community. And I think if you default immediately to scaling on every workout, you miss out on some of that. Now, I'm not saying that's appropriate for everybody, but I agree with Standy. I think most people should be really pushing themselves to try to do it RX. Gabe should definitely move it back to 5 weeks. Oh, I have such a love-hate relationship with the 5 weeks. Like, I don't totally disagree with you because I like having 5 different events, but dude, 5 weeks of putting that on, it gets tough. Souza, are you staying affiliated? Yeah, for now, I'm definitely staying affiliated. I mean, mine came up in December, and we made that decision then. Mostly, I mean, I feel like a lot of affiliate owners have been saying the same thing. I know I have for multiple years. You're kind of sitting around and like waiting. Like, CrossFit's strange. It's kind of like the girl you can never really leave, or guy, whatever. where like you're like, oh man, I really want change. I really want, this to happen, or I really hope that this happens, and then it kind of doesn't, and then your time comes up and you're like, all right, shit, we'll just stay with it for another year and see what happens. And I think the reason why is because like it's hard. We're all underneath this global brand. So there's different iterations of it. We see advancements of it, like what Greg and Emily are doing with Metfix, kind of that next level of education. We've seen alternative stuff with like the WFP. It's a whole other thing. I don't even think there's a business model with affiliates there, but you see people try to recreate or try to mimic it, or try to have an auxiliary, like an add-on to it. And it's tough because it's just such a strong global brand name that to move away from it is you have to kind of do a big revamp. Okay, we have some arguments going on. Standy thinks 5 weeks isn't agreed. Gabe's saying, all right, meet in the middle at 4. Our Zep1 is saying no way. Everyone checks out after the 3rd week. Okay, I don't disagree with that. When we had the 5 weeks, that's probably about when they saw the fall off happen. Riley agrees, 5 weeks too long. I was losing interest last week. Yeah, what's up, Kenneth? How you doing? Mason, what's up, dude? Good to see you. Shorts, you what? Cool. That's a cool screen name. We all love it. We all want it to be better. That's why we stick around. We reminisce the glory days for sure. Yeah, you're not wrong there. You're not wrong there. What is Corey saying? I don't know. World Fitness Project Livermore just rolls right off the tongue, doesn't it? What are we World Fitness Projecting? The only thing I know about that company is there's a bunch of athletes that are going to compete for athletes. Gabe, I'm feeling another week for this week. The vibe is back. Barbell spin. Keep it at 3 weeks, but make 1 or 2 weeks have multiple workouts. I like that a little bit. I like when they have 2 scored things in it too. But I agree here with Jonathan Ortega. 3 weeks is perfect. Joey, what's up, dude? I'm just here for hints for the firefighter rumble workouts. Dope. We're doing a little firefighter event down at CFL on May 4th. I'm excited about it. We're going to put some more promotion stuff out, and I'll show it to you guys at the end of the show. Okay. This is the main portion. Before I play this, we are going to react live to last week's affiliate town hall. I haven't watched it. I was planning on making it. I had all my schedule set up, and like an idiot, I screwed up the time. I thought it was at 9:30. Turns out it was at 9 a.m. Turns out it was 10 minutes freaking long. The affiliate town hall is shorter than the first portion of this show. I'm long-winded and I talk a lot, but holy crap, you figured there'd be a few more things to talk about. So this is going to be a snooze fest. Did you see it already, Brian? This will be interesting. All right. Jonathan, Firefighter Relay Rumble is on May 4th, a Sunday, May 4th. I'll be promoting some more stuff. We'll talk about it. We're even thinking about maybe just having some fun and just streaming it, just like super loose. The event isn't like some premier competition. It's basically just an ability for all the Bay Area firefighters to come together. We got 4 events. They're going to work together in teams of 3, which kind of mimics a fire crew team. The workouts are mostly focused around stuff that they would do at their job tasks, but also just some general tests of fitness. And the idea behind it is just basically something to sign up for, give everybody something to train for, something to be a little competitive at, and to work together as a team. So the idea is just basically putting hanging a carrot out there and giving the firefighters something to train for, where they have to put their shit on blast. Behind the scenes, episode 4 was good. If you guys remind me right before I get off, we could release 1 through 4 again. I'll release 1 through 4 again if you guys haven't seen it. So become a member now, and at the end of the show, remind me and we'll do it. Bubba B, wish my work meetings were 10 minutes. Yeah, no kidding. Fucking, oh, we got a lot going on. We understand there's a lot of certainty. We're going to take 10 minutes here to talk about it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I looked at it wrong. Maybe it's not 10 minutes. Oh, I was wrong, guys. It's not 10 minutes. I almost screwed that up. It's 10 minutes and 46 seconds. I wouldn't want to sell it short. All right. We're in the mix. We're going to change to this view. Okay. So we got Don Fall here from what it looks like his this isn't a living room. This is like the side room of your house that nobody really goes into, but it's kept like super nice. You know what you guys got that? You know what I'm talking about? We have one of those houses or one of those rooms in your house. I definitely didn't grow up rich at all. Not even close. But we had one of those rooms. And this is the room that Don looks like he's in. Okay, so let's dig right in here. Was anyone in their car for it? CrossFit, that is a great that's a great question. And we'll find out. I don't know. Like I said, I'm reacting to this live in real time with you guys. We're not even going to speed it up. It's only 10 minutes. So we're just going to let it roll as is here. Let me know if you guys can't hear it for any reason. Appreciate the timestamp. Timestamp's good. Or in their bathroom. We're having an official board meeting. Okay, here we go.
We're going to get started. And I know we've got folks trickling in, but we'll jump right into it. So first, wanted to say thank you guys for making time today. I know we've got folks who are on super early or super late, carving out time. So appreciate you spending a few minutes with us. We shared some important news yesterday. You guys have gotten the news. As we shared, we are starting a process to find our next owner for CrossFit to support our next phase of growth as a business. And what we wanted to do today was to share a little bit more context and information with you guys about what this means, about what that process looks like, about what you can expect over the next couple of months.
All right, so this is already interesting. It seems to me like this might be, if you guys watch the show that Sevon did, I cannot figure out for the life of me why they would just come out there and say, hey, we're going to go ahead and put CrossFit up for bid. Everybody needs to know. Like, it doesn't make sense, like strategically. Usually those things are really kept behind closed doors until like the deal's done, or at least the due diligence and like all the back and forth, maybe the money hasn't exchanged hands, but it's pretty much right there. So I just find it really strange that they announced that and then follow it up with a town hall. It doesn't really look like that was planned on their part from just what I'm gathering here. The other thing was interesting is Don had said, so we're going to give you guys kind of an idea of what these next couple months are going to look like, which is interesting because if you're taking bids, right? Like if I have my car outside my house for sale and I let everybody know, hey, I'm taking bids, I'm selling my car. We'll let you guys know what the next couple of months look like. I don't even know what that means, because wouldn't it not matter until the money changed hands? Like, I guess a different analogy would be if you're like, you're a single mom or something, you got a new boyfriend. It's like you don't tell the kids like, hey, I got a new boyfriend. These couple months might look different. Oh, this one didn't work out. So now that boyfriend's gone, but we're going to try new ones. Like, don't you wait until you know the relationship's going to work out to introduce them to the kids? It seems like that should be the same play for this. Like, you wait until you know that the buyer is there. It's legit. The deal's pretty much done. Now you go over and say, hey, affiliates, meet your new stepdad. So I don't know. All right. Who has worse analogies, Sevon or Souza? You want to start a poll? How did that make you feel, Standy? Should we start a poll? We'll start a poll just for you. I'm curious too. The other day, somebody complimented it, huh? They said they liked my analogies. Went out of their way. Send me a DM. Who has worse analogies? Okay. Souza? Sevon, or Standy. Started. Okay, there we go. Yeah, now we'll really find out. Didn't expect that one, did you, Standy? Now you're an option. Jonathan, this is their attempt to be transparent. Okay. I agree. All right, continuing on. Oh, almost hit the wrong screen.
I'm going to do my best over the next probably 10 or 15 minutes or so to share as much context as I can and answer as many of the questions that I think you might have about this process. That being said, one of the things, and I'll talk about this in a little bit more detail, but confidentiality will end up being really important in supporting a successful process and outcome here. So I'm going to be somewhat limited in how much I can share and how much we're going to be able to share moving forward. So I want to tackle that kind of head on and share with you guys as much as we can right now.
All right, I kind of respect that because at least he's telling us he's not going to tell us, right? Like, that's about as honest as you could be with it. So I don't really have any issue with that. Again, they should probably address why they're doing this in general. Like, I don't know why. The whole thing seems weird to come on here to tell us that thing's happening, but you'll tell us what you can, but you can't tell us most of it. But at least he admitted that, and he's not saying anything about, we're going to keep you up to speed on all of this. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't give him too much credit before, but Brian, no reason to watch the rest. What are you talking about, dude? We got a full 9 minutes and 30 seconds here. There's got to be something. All right, let's keep on.
What I wanted to start with is first, in a typical process like this, it's actually somewhat unusual for a company to make an announcement as they kick off the process. 9 times out of 10 or more, traditionally, when a company goes through a sale process, they won't ultimately make any sort of announcement or communication until that process is done. We decided to.
All right. Well, at least we did address that. We did clear that. That's cool. I dig that. They're saying it's weird. It is weird.
To share earlier for a couple of reasons. First, we wanted to make sure that you guys, given the essential role that you play in supporting this community, heard from us directly. We also wanted to.
Okay. Here's a question I have for you guys. That last line that he said. We're doing this because we want you guys to hear it from us directly. But you already heard it from me. So by the time little old me got a hold of the news and got all my ball of yarn, corkboard, and LinkedIn photos and strung it together, it had probably already been brewing for a while. So that feels a little bit like a bullshit statement. It feels more like the cat got out of the bag, so now we have to do this to cover our ass. I don't know. Franco. Poor Souza trying to add to nothing. I'm trying, brother. Oh my goodness. You're not wrong.
To share news around the process to get as many potential great buyers to the table as possible and make them aware of the process. We also wanted to share news around the process to get, given the essential role that you play in supporting this community, heard from us directly. We also wanted to share news around the process to get as many potential great buyers to the table as possible and make them aware of the process. Our goal in this process.
Okay, I got to listen to this part again. You guys are cracking me up. Dog and Pony Show for sure. CrossFit. I lost my train of thought because I started laughing at your comment. This is mom telling you dad is sleeping somewhere new now. Oh my goodness. Okay, all right. I gotta pull it back. I gotta pull it back just a little bit.
Given the essential role that you play in supporting this community, heard from us directly.
Supporting the community. If the affiliates leave, I do believe there is no community. might have, I think a better phrase would have been like, because you guys are the community. You are the essence of the community. You are the leaders of the community. You are the major contributors of the community. Maybe one of those would work. Supporters of? I guess that still works, but I need more credit, dog.
We also wanted to share news around the process to get as many potential great buyers to the table as possible and make them aware of the process.
Okay, so I think that's complete bullshit. You made an Instagram post to sell a company for $600 million. He's like, before you guys see this on Facebook Marketplace, we just wanted to let you know what was happening. Okay. Okay. We want. Okay. Truth be told, I've never sold a company, and definitely not one of this size. You know what I mean? Sold a few cars in my day. Actually, no, I haven't. I haven't even sold a car. But I would imagine that if you're selling something that's this unique to this unique of a buyer, that getting the word out probably isn't, I don't want to say necessary, but I feel like you don't do it by posting it online. I don't know. All right. Okay. Oh, wait, let's check our poll. Let's check the poll. Oh, shit. Standy, you're beating me out. Anal allergies. We got 29% for me, 35% for Sevon, and 35% for Standy. It's kind of unfair because I haven't necessarily heard many of her analogies. And for some reason, I feel like they would probably be better analogies than Sevon and I together. But it is what it is. Okay, here we go.
Or go around the process to get as many potential great buyers to the table as possible and make them aware of the process. Our goal in this process, and we shared this in our email yesterday, what we're trying to focus on is to find the right future owner of CrossFit, the best possible owner.
I want to address this question here because there's some conflation. Mason, to be fair, didn't Sevon say Rosa contacted Glassman through Instagram to buy it the first time? So you had an interested buyer with the money who directly contacted the person that owned the company directly via Instagram. I don't believe is the same thing as saying CrossFit's for sale on Instagram. I don't think that those are comparable at all. But you got to clear it by Standy first.
And as we touched on in our email, ideally that's someone with a connection to our community, a true understanding and appreciation process. Our goal in this process, and we shared this in our email yesterday, what we're trying to focus on is to find the right future owner of CrossFit, the best possible owner. And as we touched on in our email, ideally that's someone with a connection to our community, a true understanding and appreciation for our affiliate model and why it's so powerful and why it's so important, and a buyer that has real passion and excitement about our vision and what's possible moving forward.
It'd be dope if we were excited about your vision. How are we only 2 minutes into this? I know. I'm gonna speed it up a little bit. Mason, my fault. No. All good. Just different. And I wanted to just point that out though. I just saw Craigslist for sale on Craigslist. You and Judy found it. How much is it? I'm interested in this item. Is it still available? Oh my goodness. AKA whoever offers the most money. Yeah, exactly. Best only means one thing for private equity. Yeah, Daniel, you're right. Souza keeps derailing. Let's 1.5 this shit. Okay, you're right, Stanley. You and Brian are getting antsy. And I don't disagree. You guys are correct. Sorry, I do keep derailing. And then I run it back 30 seconds. So all right, here we go. We're back in.
A huge part of that process.
Actually, we're going to 1.25 it. 1.5 might be just a little too much energy for Don. You know what I'm saying? It's a little too much mustard on that bad boy.
In supporting a successful outcome is doing the very best job we can, bringing as many great potential buyers to the table as possible. And again, as I mentioned before, the benefit now of us communicating our intent to start the process is we can ensure that we're casting as wide a net as possible. And it's been cool to see over the last 24 hours, a lot of folks reach out with interest. And this is where the importance of confidentiality will come in, and wanted to spend a minute to touch on this. So one of the things that's really essential in a process like this, in trying to get as many folks to the table to have a conversation about CrossFit, is being able to give those potential buyers confidence that the conversations that are happening are going to be treated and handled with the utmost confidentiality. For a lot of folks who might be interested in a conversation about a sale like this, they wouldn't come to the table if they didn't have confidence that we would handle those conversations discreetly. We also want to make sure throughout this process that we're able to have those conversations as constructively, productively as possible and minimize any disruptions along the way. So I wanted to talk a little bit now about, as we officially kick off this process.
He's reading notes, right? Are you guys catching that too? Like there's a, yeah. Mason, yeah, you see it too, right? Spin, he's looking at the script. The Rothschilds wrote for him for this. Okay, I didn't read the end of your comment, but that's what's happening, right? Yeah. What does he keep looking at? Okay, sorry, I didn't read your guys' comments, but I was catching that too, for sure. Souza, if someone buys CrossFit for say 220 million, how long would the buyer have to make their money back on it? Typically, private equity looks between 3 to 5 years. Hopefully, you have somebody that buys it, that spends that kind of money, that just says like, hey, look, I just want to break even on this, or I'm super fucking rich and it doesn't even matter. Jeremy, how many times will they get ghosted before it sells? A lot of times. Kyle, how many times can he say process in 10 minutes? Probably as many times as I said, I think, at the beginning of my show. All right, here we go. We're going to go back in.
I want to share a little bit of context on how this process is going to work. And the process we'll follow here is pretty typical for a company that will go through a process like this. First, as I mentioned in my notes, we have hired an advisor, a company called Moelis & Company, to help us with the process. This is what they do. And again, our goal here is to identify and have conversations with a wide range of potential buyers. They partner with organizations like us to support a successful sale process. Their role primarily is to help market our business, identify prospective buyers, and facilitate the process throughout. Now, the first step in the process, what we have started work on and what will happen over the next few weeks, is preparation to have those conversations. So we're going to be partnering really closely. We're working with Moelis to gather information and prepare materials that we'll use in the sale process. We start having conversations with buyers, and the intent being to help them understand our business, to help them understand CrossFit, to help them understand what makes CrossFit so special, the impact we've had on the world over the last 20 years.
We want a buyer that understands this community, that loves this community, that's passionate about this community, but we also want to make sure that we have our ducks in a row so we can explain to them what CrossFit is. Anybody else catching it? So there's a little bit of I don't know, whatever you want to call it there, but he kind of just backed over what he just said, right? Because at the end of the day, he was like, we really want the right buyer. And he named off all these awesome things. And then just right there, he said, we want to make sure everything is prepared to have these conversations. And I would have been okay with that, because all I was thinking was like due diligence on like the accounting, the books, like where the company truly is number wise. That's very important when you're buying something, obviously, because you have to value it. But then when he said to, really show them what CrossFit is, I was like, uh-oh. Because typically you would only be pumped about buying it if you knew what it was. Maybe High Rocks will buy it. I don't know. Like, here's the problem, is that most people, I don't think, know what the function of CrossFit HQ is. I don't think Rosa did. And I don't think that they've had much help with that conversation from anybody else.
And why we are so excited with buyers, and the intent being to help them understand our business, to help them understand CrossFit, to help them understand what makes CrossFit so special, the impact we've had on the world over the last 20 years, and why we are so excited and bullish about the opportunity in front of us. So we'll be working on those materials over the course of the next few weeks. The next phase in the process, we'll be working with Moelis to identify and reach out to as many prospective great buyers as possible. And also, again, will play a really important role here. So they've already started to think about who could be a great potential owner. They'll be reaching out to folks in that next phase of the process to engage them in having a conversation. Along the way, we have already and will continue to have folks reach out to us proactively as they hear the news. And so Moelis will be responsible for supporting those conversations as well through the process. So that'll then set up the next phase of the process for us. So as we do that outreach, we have the materials prepared. Now we'll be engaged in conversations with prospective buyers. This will include myself, members of our team, and that'll be an opportunity for us to tell these prospective buyers more about CrossFit. Again, help them understand what makes CrossFit so fundamentally unique and so fundamentally powerful. We get the opportunity to tell our story. We get the opportunity to talk about what's in front of us, why we're so excited, why we're bullish, the impact that we can have on the world. It's also an opportunity for us to get to better know these businesses and these potential owners, help hear from them, their vision for CrossFit, why they're so bullish, what they see as opportunity over the next few years. At some point, that will move into a phase where we start to get proposals from buyers. Their proposal, which will allow us to assess each of these potential buyers and look at the considerations that will inform who we decide ultimately is the right future owner of CrossFit.
So he's basically just going to describe everything that's going to happen, right? Wait, what's going on over here? Bo, Souza, is this a call-in show? Dude, I wanted it to be a call-in show, but I don't have like a separate phone number like Sevon does. So I tried the free one a while back, and I kept having issues with it. So hopefully I get something set up here again soon. And you don't have to listen to Standy. She just hates the callers. So that's why she said it that way. She hates the callers. Google phone. I know. I had some other one, and it started making me like wanted to charge me like $1 or whatever, $2 a week or something, and I was cool with it, but then it still didn't work through the Roadcaster. I don't know. Yeah, she. Standy's a she. No, I don't like Boo. Bo. Boo. Okay, sorry. Standy plays hard to get. She comes around though. She comes around. Okay, so all Dawn's done is just describe the process of selling a company. It's kind of strange. And Jonathan said something up here earlier, and he said notes were okay. It's to be prepared. And I agree with that, Jonathan. I do think, of course, it's good to have notes. It's good to have notes. It's not good to clearly just read a script. That's the difference to me between somebody like a Trump type figure that will just say, yeah, meet me by the airstrip and let's just talk about everything, and I'll just take questions right off the cuff, versus somebody who's like, okay, I don't do any speeches, or I'm not going to answer any questions until I've really thought about this and flushed it out and developed my script for it. And I don't know about you guys, but for me, like, I'd much rather have, even if I'm not going to hear what I want to hear, I'd much rather have the person that just comes up and just starts speaking off the cuff, that like truly knows what they're doing and is being honest, right? Typically, when you have to follow a script as much, I mean, look at him. He looks like the Mona Lisa right now. Those eyes are just following that script all over the room. And so I would much rather have something where, off the cuff to me, and I don't even like to use off the cuff, it's just a general natural conversation. Like that to me means you know your shit and you're confident in it and you're confident in your decisions and you're not really afraid to get up there and just tell it like it is, or just speak with whatever you can, with what information you can give us. So that's why it's like there's a fine line between notes and just reading a script. And I think he's leaning on the side of reading a script right now than he is just peeking at notes to make sure he stays on track. All right, back in.
That will set up then ultimately the decision that we make to choose who we think is the right future owner for CrossFit. Now, this process is going to take time. These processes generally take time, and that's in the range of months. And so over the course of the next couple of months, we'll be supporting those conversations. I can't share with you, we don't have a definitive timeline. Here's exactly how long it's going to take, largely because every process is a little bit different. And again, what's most important in this is we want to make sure we create the conditions where we can support the best possible outcome. I did want to address kind of one issue here. And look, there will be a lot of speculation and rumors that exist in the community, and we're not going to address those. We're not going to comment on those. There has been some talk that CrossFit's already been sold, or that we've already identified the buyer and it's imminent. Those are fundamentally untrue. This is true.
Oh, he used imminent. That was the same title of our show. Do you think that was on purpose?
really the start of the process. We have had some folks reach out already who have had interest in CrossFit and being a potential owner. They will be a part of the process along the way. Again, we're excited that they've reached out, but we'll also be having conversations with a lot of other prospective buyers as well before we ultimately make our decision. So the next time, I mentioned before that we're not going to be able to share a lot of updates. We're not going to be able to share updates along the way. So the next time that you guys in the community that will hear an update from us is when we've made a decision on the future buyer. And at that point, you will hear directly from me. We'll communicate that decision to the future.
And don't you guys worry, you'll hear it directly from me too. Probably a month before you hear it from him.
Your owner is going to be and what that means moving forward. And in the meantime, we're not going to be able to share any additional updates. And again, we won't be.
I'll share all the updates. The rumor, speculation, and shit I just make up are my updates.
Sharing those updates because what we're most focused on and what's most essential is supporting a really successful process. So again, as I mentioned a little bit before, there's gonna be a lot of rumors along the way. There's gonna be a lot of speculation. They've already started before yesterday's announcement. Since yesterday's announcement, we can expect there'll be a lot of speculation. We're not gonna comment on those. We're gonna do our best to stay focused. And my ask for all of you guys in the role that you can play in helping support the best possible outcome for CrossFit, for our community, for all of us, is doing the same. I think for all of us, the best thing we can do is continue to focus on supporting our community, supporting the last open announcement today. Our team's going to be focused on continuing to support you as affiliates. You're going to see us continue to support and create media to get people excited about CrossFit and continue to move our business in the community forward. Before we wrap
Next slide, please.
up here, I just wanted to touch on, as I mentioned before, I'm going to be really closely involved in this. And what I want to share with you guys is I'm really excited about this. This is the right thing for CrossFit. It's the right thing for our community. It's the right thing for our business. And I think this presents fantastic opportunity for us. And I'm excited to have the opportunity over the next couple of months to talk to prospective buyers about what's possible, about our vision, about the impact that we can have on the world. As I mentioned before, kind of before we close here, in the meantime, it's going to be business as usual for us. We're going to continue to do our best to support you and the rest of the community. And when we have news to share at the end of the process, you guys will hear it from me directly. Before we close here, I wanted to say thank you again. I know we're a few hours away from the last open announcement. We're excited about that. Thank you for the support. The first two have been great. Thanks for what you do every day. Really grateful to be a part of the journey with you guys and excited to share more news with you guys when we can. Thanks for your time today. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready to run through a brick wall. I'm fired up. Okay, so just to touch base on a couple of those things there. Number one, did you guys catch this? And we're going to do a poll. Hold on. Find a good shot of it. Okay, let me bring this back in. One sec. Okay, you guys see that right there? There's a little kettlebell. See that kettlebell back there? Here's the poll. Was that kettlebell set there as a prop? Or does Dawn actually work out with the kettlebell in that room? Prop or real? Let's start the poll. The results from the last poll. Standy has the worst analogies at 36%, Sevon at 35%, and then I come in at 27%. Damn. Okay, here's the poll. Standy, no matter what you do, you're just a winner. You know what I'm saying? Like you just like you can't, and I'm just a loser. I've lost every poll ever. Including jerking off. Okay, is too early. Is it a? Does what do we say? Does Dawn? No, what do we want to say? Is it? We'll just do that. We'll just do that. Prop real. Okay, and start the poll. There it is. Is it a prop or is it real? What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Now, got to give Mr. Fowl some credit because I do know he is an avid CrossFitter. He does CrossFit. No question about that. I think he CrossFit originally back in Jason Khalipa's gym, which was close to where he was over that Menlo Park, Sunnyvale area. Hey, Nico, what's up, man? I'm going to get you rescheduled back up for the show, too. Thanks for coming on and making time. Awesome. It's like your book, props. Yeah, shitload of props. Probably a much cheaper prop than a shitload of books. But what was your thing? Oh, Road to Roadcaster Pro. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Need Road to like a second like SIM card. Bo, what was your question? You had a question. I think it was about profitability. Do I think CrossFit? Oh, right here. Okay. Matt, do we know if HQ is currently producing a profit? That's a great question. I'm going to follow that up with this. I don't know, obviously, because we don't it's speculation on, we don't have the profit and loss in front of us, but I can say this, that CrossFit has pulled the trigger on a couple things that you could only pull the trigger on one time, right? So, well, you could pull the trigger multiple times, but really you only get away with it one time. So the first thing that they did was they raised the affiliate fees. So that's going to increase all of the affiliate, revenue significantly, right? Some of them were only paying $500 a year that have now jumped to 4,500 or will be at the end of this year. And then the rest of the gyms, like on mine, that were already maybe paying the $3,000 rate, are now paying $1,500 more. So the 4,500. So right away, you've already used up that affiliate increase where you could say, hey, affiliates are bringing in more revenue. They're a big moneymaker. Can't you just check out the books? Look how much Berkshire has increased it. You might have a top line of $100. They did all the affiliate raises. Everybody shook out over that year. Then they relook at the books at the end of this year, and they made $110. That, by and large, increased revenue, and then therefore should increase profit, depending on their expenses, of course. So you look at that. So that's one thing that they did once that you can't really replicate. The second thing was requiring the L2 for affiliate owners, which I like that. I didn't have any issue with the kind of the forced education, if you will. I think that as an affiliate owner and a CrossFit coach, that you should be wanting more education. You should be wanting to attend those next things. So I wasn't against that at all. And they do give some sort of discount when you affiliate that you could utilize towards education. So as an affiliate owner, you get a little bit off if you end up doing that. But again, that's something that you could only do one time, that then increases the numbers of seminars being sold. Because if you had, let's say, 100 affiliates that were all L1s that never had any interest in going to take their L2, and just would have kept taking the test and renewing the L1 when they had to, are now forced to take the L2. So then therefore, again, on paper, you look like all those seminars raised up in revenue, right? Because now all your affiliate owners are taking them, plus you have coaches that are normally taking it. But again, you can't do that twice, because now you can't go back to the affiliate owners and say, hey, retake an L2, or now this is mandatory, or you have to take this other course. So there's a couple things where the books might look good right now, especially this year, because they're going to be looking off of last year's, and they're going to be looking after since Berkshire took control of the company. So if you look at that, they may have increased revenues and then therefore likely increased profits, because we've also seen them with layoffs, other things that can lower some expenses. So it looks like they pulled both those levers that they could pull, like that Berkshire could pull, in order to make the books look really good to a prospective buyer. And you could see a show in 2020 when we took it over, it was making X, now it's making Y. And we have reason to believe that it'll continue to make Y and even move to Z later on. And you could kind of showcase that by utilizing those strategies that they did. But again, if you're the next buyer that's coming in mind, like you're coming in and you're also hoping to make money or continue to grow the company, those options have gone away. And so it's going to take you a lot longer to be able to show a revenue growth on a profit and loss statement like that, just because like you have to then actually grow the company. You can't tweak it a little bit here and there and change some pricing and get a different result out of it. Keep in mind, they lost 6,000 affiliates in the last 2 years. Yeah, that's really interesting, right? Like one of the things that we could see, because I know, is the increases in the changes they made. But one thing that we can't see is like, what did that look like on the other side of that? Like how many people de-affiliated? What does that look like from 2020 to now? So yeah, it's really interesting. And obviously it's a private company, so you're not going to get much information out of it. The other thing that's really interesting to think about is the NSCA case, because if you guys remember, we've talked about it a lot on this show. And there was like, I think someone was saying that at one point they offered Greg 50 million or something like that just to settle on it, close it. And he was like, no, we're gonna put these guys in the dirt. So I would imagine that the next buyer that came in that then took control of that case could easily say, okay, we spent 200 million. We're going to get 50 million back right away because we don't give a shit about the NSCA case. We don't even understand it. We're just going to sign on the dotted line, close it. They're going to pay us and move on. So then essentially they would get 50 million of their 200 million back right away, right? So that's something that's also interesting. And then we don't know how much money has been saved on expenses. We know that it's a skeleton crew now. It seems to me like there's a lot of executives and a few middle managed kind of people, and the rest of it's all contracted out. So, that could save on expenses a lot, because whenever you're contracting people, you get quotes and you have whole numbers. You don't have ongoing expenses for employees, not to mention all the other stuff that comes with employees, right? Sick days, hiring and firing, the cost of training, like all of that stuff is a resource pool. So if they're able to eliminate all those and then outsource everything, contract, ironically, the people that they fired, that's going to help the expense column as well. So yeah, man, I would love to be able to like really see it, like really like check out the P&L, like be a fly on the wall. I would love to be able to just hear Berkshire. Like I want to know Berkshire's opinion on CrossFit, not like Don and Berkshire, but I want to know like what does Marnie like think of it? Like what is I think Ross is the other managing partner. There used to be 3, now there's only 2. But I'd be curious as to like where is their head around CrossFit and its future with Berkshire and its future in general. That would be really interesting. The other problem, and this is going to segue now into the CrossFit competitors here, is I don't think a lot of people really fundamentally understand CrossFit as a business. And admittedly, even when Greg and everybody else was too, I think they obviously had their hands wrapped around it, but I think they were also figuring it out as well. And it's not a normal business. It's not. We have a ravished, very loud community. We have people that are just hardcore about this, that you typically don't get with a lot of other, fitness offerings. And the other thing too is it's such a community-driven business. You as affiliate owners know this, right? And as coaches, but it's such a community-driven business that it's not a normal thing in terms of, business as usual. And I think the competitors here are going to find that out. And now, what are the competitors? Obviously, the talk of the town is the World Fitness Project. And the interesting thing about them seems to be that they're like reversing it from competition back to affiliates, as opposed to if you looked at what happened at CrossFit, it grew at the affiliates into the competition. So that's going to be tough, because what is it exactly that you sell? Do you sell affiliateship? And if you sell affiliateship, do you sell affiliateship to what brand? You know what I mean? And then on top of that, it's like, who's your customer? Like if you don't have a seminar or an educational piece that first allows you to move into an affiliateship, like I don't really know what it is that you sell. And I think that's even something that CrossFit HQ is struggling with. Like who's our customer and what exactly is it that we're selling right now? And so if you're trying to be a competitor to CrossFit, if you're doing the Ben Bergeron thing, the World Fitness Project, if you think now your gym's going to be a High Rocks gym or something like that, really think hard about what it is as an affiliate owner that you sell and who do you sell to. And that's going to be an easier question to answer at an affiliate level, I think, than it is at a CrossFit HQ level. So the best bet for it is obviously what Emily and gang at Broken Science with Metfix have going on, because they already have a course and they're already building on top of material with Greg. So that's a different, you're not basically trying to reinvent CrossFit there. So That makes more sense. That makes more sense. Okay, let's take a couple of these questions here. It would be class if it was filthy rich owner who comes in and goes back to the cheaper affiliate price and encourages more people to open affiliates. Yeah, if they could afford it. If they could afford it, meaning the company, if they could afford it, I don't think the race to the bottom is it. Not even for affiliates. Like I do think you could probably pull back to like a $2,000 to $3,000 price for affiliateship, but um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Barbell spin, Medfix. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. My gym is a High Rocks gym, and we have 5+ people walking in wanting to try it because of High Rock. That's what they're selling. Yeah, and so that's the power of brand, right, Mason? Because they see it everywhere, and it seems exciting, and there's this community behind it, and they're showcasing all these people that I want to be like or that I look like, and I need something to train for. And so that's why I think that draw for High Rocks is because you have this mass participation event. I mean, dude, look at half marathons and 5Ks and marathons. You show up at a town that runs one of those and that it's just flooded with people that want to do that. And so that to me is the biggest opportunity that CrossFit is missing out on, which is kind of where we started this conversation, is that the open really, really needs to be that. And in my opinion, I think High Rocks is nothing more than a partner than I would see it as a competitor, because us as CrossFitters know that High Rocks is just a CrossFit workout. It's not a methodology, and there's not an education that's going to come from it. High Rocks just set a record with 17,000 people competing at one event last weekend. I mean, that's insane. That's insane. Like, I get it's easy to make fun of, right? Like, I get it's easy for us as CrossFitters to make fun of. Some of the shit that I laugh at super hard is keeping it real, like Grant stuff. God, he's hilarious. Some of the things, but oh shit, say his name. There he is. But yeah, it's easy to dig on for sure. But I do think that there's a lesson to be learned. I think that could have been fucking CrossFit. That could have been the mass participation event. They could have made one CrossFit event that was repeatable and leaned more into that, or even kind of piggybacked off of High Rocks in the early days. Like, if our end result is to get as many people CrossFitting as humanly possible, is to bring as many people into the fold of the methodology that we know and love, then partnering with High Rocks seems to make more sense. If our goal is to stomp out every opportunity in the fitness space to prove that we're the best by doing it that way, I don't think that's a winning strategy. I think the diplomatic approach is going to be the best strategy for a lot of these fitness things. Now, if they attack CrossFit like some of these guys have done, like the Tanner Shucks, or like the who is the fat dude about strength or whatever, probably can't walk up 3 flights of stairs, whatever. Like, for me, I think that if you take a more diplomatic approach, we have, as CrossFitters and as CrossFit affiliates, the hands down the most potent training protocol the world has to offer. Like, that's what Greg gave us. And so we know that if we get people into our gyms, whether they're training for a High Rocks or one of their other sports or just whatever, they're just training for something in general, that if they come in and then they do CrossFit, they will become better at that thing and they will become better at life. And so if our goal is really just expose as many people to that, I think we need to start taking more of a diplomatic approach to some of these things that pop up and seeing how we could use it to our advantage rather than just casting stones right away. As CrossFit HQ, I think affiliate owners and comedy Instagram accounts should keep doing exactly what they're doing. I just find it to be entertaining. Every regional could be 75 minutes, CrossFit style station race with mass participation. I think there's lots of different ways to skin the cat. And you kind of saw this happen at the Arnold back in the day, where it was like that fitness festival. We had a bunch of different stuff kind of coming into one. With the elites, I thought the same thing, but we were based by CrossFit. A lot of people love running 26.2 miles endlessly. Yeah, a lot of people love it because I also think it's super accessible. You just walk outside your front door and start running, and it's been around for a really long time. And there's lots of mass participation events and different things like that. Hydro Rock wants to become an Olympic event, hence they will never change their workout. This blows my mind. Won't people get bored of doing the same movements? Why do people want to be an Olympic event? I remember Jason Kleba talking about that with the CrossFit Games. I thought it was the stupidest fucking idea. I just don't get it. It's nuts. Yeah. So the path forward, what does that look like? I think for CrossFit, we're gonna know not shit. I mean, we just saw them trying to fucking give us the inside information and told us absolutely nothing. And Don blatantly read from a script. Matter of fact, somebody sent me this. Okay, CrossFit HQ. I know one of you guys are listening. I was asked earlier, like, can you replay the town halls live for everybody else? I don't know, but they fucking should. Like, why would you not? What is happening? Teach you how to build a media company. Come holler at your boy. You guys are already using half my people anyways. Fuck, I lost my train of thought. What was I gonna show you? Yeah, I know, Brian. You were right. You were right. I told you he didn't say anything. Oh, this is what I was gonna show it. Somebody sent me this the other day and I thought it was great. Elgato prompter. Okay, here we go. Back to this is me giving to HQ right now. This is the path forward. Yeah, thank you, Bo. Here it is, guys. Next time, do a little investing. Invest into one of these bad boys. All right, Don. Then you just throw your camera inside of that. Okay. Throw your camera back behind that. This little mirror is going to reflect whatever you need said from this tablet below. And then you could read it and you could stare at the camera. There you go. Okay. Then you don't ever have to worry about people saying you looked at it could look like you were right off the cuff. You could just read it. And the crazy thing is you might even be able to pull off a weave. You know what I'm saying? Get out there, maybe give a really bad analogy like I do, and then get back into the script. So anyways, path forward. It'll be interesting to watch how this shakes out, who actually buys CrossFit. Don basically told you right there that this is all they're going to say about the sell of it, which is essentially just acknowledging it and then saying there's going to be a lot of rumors and speculation, but don't believe it. And we're going to sell it to somebody who really loves and knows CrossFit right after we explain to them what CrossFit is. And then once the company's sold, we'll let you guys know. All right. Well, so be it, huh? The other issue with some of the competitor pieces is that you're kind of just reinventing the wheel. It's like you're putting a few bells, like what did Ben add to it? Like character was part of their pillars or something like that. No, that ain't it. It's going to be hard to replicate, you guys. It's going to be hard to replicate. So I think for us as CrossFitters here, we're kind of in the same holding pattern that we've been in the last 4 years, huh? Which is what? Sit and wait. Sit and wait. And here's the thing. I do think that reinventing nothing, ripping it off. Correct. Yeah, you're right, Chase. Copying somebody's homework and just like changing a few letters and then turning it as your own. And then the first person that reads it is like, this is CrossFit. I don't know. What'd you do here? I know it sounds kind of cheesy, but I think some of the people that were saying like, hey, like Rich said this as well in one of the speeches that the speech that he gave when he was over at, I think, Coaches Congress, wherever he was in Europe, when he was like, the CrossFit community will always kind of exist. We're going to start to see it potentially fragment out, like similar to like a religion where you have different denominations all over the place, but you'll always still have the core of it. And I think that as long as there's people that are really passionate about it, like the group of media guys that I run with, all of you lovely people in these comments here, everybody who shows up at their affiliate every single day, and it's especially the coaches and the affiliate owners that show up every morning at 5 a.m. or earlier and roll up that garage door, and will do it endlessly and passionately because they know that they're changing lives. You guys are the single most important fucking thing to all of this. Every single athlete, I love them to death, some of them, they could all go away tomorrow. The CrossFit Games could go away tomorrow. And it would still be there if you guys showed up at 5 a.m., rolled up that bay door, and started class. When you guys are around your local community, walking around in your downtown and having conversations with people and teaching them about eating better, movement, and what you guys are doing down at your gym, and how there's a whole bunch of awesome people there that are ready to do it with them, that is the heartbeat of what CrossFit actually is. The rest of this shit is all bells and whistles, and I know this to be true because it already started in 2001 with an online community of people that were doing just exactly this. So, anyways, to you guys out there that are doing it, I commend you. I'm doing it there with you. There at 5 a.m. and I'm going to keep continuing the fight because as you guys know that listen to this, I told you I was going to fucking die on this hill. This isn't a 3-year sell for me. This isn't it. This is a life run. And obviously I'm building a media company behind it so that we can continue to push it regardless of who the entity in charge is. It's one day. Just one day.